sharing with you in this video how to manifest with heart energy and create your goals faster. I really believe that this is probably one of the most important concepts you can possibly learn in your life, if not the most important concept, because what's happening is that, including myself, I really believe that what many people go through is they have a strong belief that just changing their thoughts alone, changing their mind, their thinking alone, is going to produce the exact results that they're looking for in their life. And I'm here to say that there's an alternative, there's a different approach to have that is far more powerful, that is going to get you better results. And so the first part of this process that I believe is a really important thing to understand is to see that your heart has the ability to make your thoughts more powerful. And that is just simply the case. So what I really mean by your heart, and I'll just really make this video very direct and not beat around the bush. I'll bring the second point to this video immediately. And the second point is to understand that, what do I mean by your heart? What is your heart? When I say your heart, what does that mean? So the second thing I want to add to this video is that your heart is the truth of who you really are and your consciousness. So in other words, it's the truth and the nature of your actual essence, the actuality of who you are. So when you come from this place where you're not stuck in only your mind and your logic, and you're not stuck in only your ego to figure out how to live your life, what happens is that you unlock almost powers within yourself to be completely different than you possibly ever could have been otherwise. You couldn't have been otherwise. Because think about it like this: if you're only operating from your mind, you're operating from the limited possibility of just linear logic. Just linear logic, and there's no intelligence there. There's no wisdom there. So you're just repeating what has already happened almost. You're not taking what has happened and turning it into something possibly better. You're not combating the things that have already happened. You're just accepting the status quo. So when somebody has an idea that possibly other people may deem as impossible, right? How do you have an idea like this? I believe that this idea has to come from God. It has to come from divine intelligence itself. It has to come from your heart, from your consciousness, from the truth. And so when you come from this place, going back to the first point, I really believe that what happens is that your thoughts have more power behind them. Your intentions become more pure. They become more, not only just more powerful, but there's again more purity behind them, because the essence of who you are is flowing much easier. You become an easier conduit for life itself to manifest and to create your desires into existence. And so from this place is the only place that I believe you can become a true creator. Because if you're becoming a creator from within the same thoughts that got you to where you were, you're never going to achieve a higher level. So where do these amazing ideas come from that challenge possibility? Well, why does one person challenge what is possible and another person challenges what is possible in a different way? Why does one person see something as impossible, yet another person might see a similar situation and see a higher opportunity, and they say, no, it is possible. It is possible to create this. It's because I believe that there's something deeper that they have within them that they're aware of. And let me just rephrase that. It's not that they have something deeper within them. It's not that the one person that has seemingly better ability to follow through with structure and a plan than the other person. Let me just get this straight. It's not that they actually, they might, but I'm making the claim that it's not that they have something better. It's that they're more conscious of something that is there. And it's not that one person can also become conscious of it. It's that they have to have a willingness to do so. So really what I'm saying is that we all have the same potential within us, but some people may be more conscious of it than others. And then so they have a higher willingness and a higher ability to follow through on that potential. Think about it like this. If a person is so low in their life They're at such a low state that they don't even believe that they have any potential to improve. That's a pretty low state. The only potential that person might believe in is just feeling not bad, feeling less worse. But that's good. That's still better than not believing in any potential at all. You never want to get to a point in your life where you completely disbelieve in any potential to improve or to have a better experience, because what happens there is that you're going to get more and more attached to your ego, go into what I call a downward spiral. Of course, I didn't come up with that term, but that term makes sense. Why is it that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer? If that is true to any degree, where does that come from? It comes from the fact that when you have an upward spiral of consciousness and abundance and being connected to the truth of who you are, you begin to have more power behind your thoughts, because that consciousness, you start to take more responsibility from that space of consciousness. So when you start to produce not good thinking, a terrible attitude, negative outlooks on life, you're aware of that and you say okay, I'm gonna notice this stuff. It's okay, I suppose, that it's coming up, but I'm not going to recreate it further. I'm not going to engage in it further. Do we control every single thought that pops in our life? That's a debatable question. Very debatable, because we think about, I think studies have shown, or if you want to look at online or whatever, who knows how true this is, but let's just assume that it's true for the purposes of this conversation, that you have about 80,000 thoughts per day. Now let's just assume that that's true. Maybe it's not 80,000, maybe it's something less. The truth is that you think a very significant amount of thoughts per day. And so can we control every single thought? Also debatable. But what can we truly control? We can control where we place our attention, what thoughts we choose to engage in, what thoughts we choose to give energy to. And I think that is real power. That is when your manifestation ability begins to unlock. That's when your discipline can get to a higher level. That's when you can begin to really become more conscious of the potential in your life and not be swayed by emotional decisions. When you start to become more conscious of this, which leads me to the final thing that I want to share with you in this video, which is to understand that, again, changing your thoughts alone is not enough for reality creation. So think about it like this. If you just change your thoughts, but there's no awareness of the truth of your essence, what's going on there is that you're basically still going to be at the whim, at the reaction of impulsive decisions in your life. So if you have a negative feeling where you know that you shouldn't be doing something, right? You know that it's a bad habit or a negative reaction that you do not want to engage in. Think about this, or imagine this, or try to become conscious of this in this moment right now. If you're able to, try to comprehend this, try to understand this, try to understand this at the deepest level. If you have an impulsive emotion, if there's no separation between you, the essence of you, and then that emotion, do you see how you're more likely to act upon this emotion that you know is not in alignment with the decision that you made to be something? So really, I believe that, again, like I say in most of my videos, 90% of this process, if not more, is just simply consciousness, just simply awareness. And when you become more aware, you have more power, more free will to choose what you prefer. Right? There's less ego there. There's less attachment to the negativity. There's less attachment to the past. When there's no consciousness and there's no awareness, it's so much easier to recreate the pain of the past, even if you believe that you don't want to do it. Because you might not want to do it, which is what we're going to call your higher self, but your ego loves to create pain, loves to recreate negativity and pain and suffering. And then not only does it like to do this, it likes to throw that pain onto others as well and create misery and suffering for everybody around itself. And so that's a big problem. And the way that we overcome this challenge of the ego is by understanding that, if you genuinely value the truth for the truth, that's a really good place to be. But if you don't care about the truth and you say, like to me, okay, I don't care about the truth, how do I create what I want? If you want to create what you want, remember that if you want to have more power behind your thoughts, once again, if you want to have a higher level of clarity in your life, easier clarity coming through to your life, easier, more clear thoughts, right? Higher ability to ignore negativity. Just simply ignore it. A negative thought might come into your experience. A negative person might come to you with a negative opinion, and you just have a strong ability to just ignore it. Just not feel anything about it whatsoever. And if you feel something about it, you ignore that feeling. You don't attach to the feeling. You don't engage in the feeling. You don't attach to the feeling. You don't talk about the feeling. It's not that you repress the feeling. You don't repress any emotions in your life. But as a free will, sovereign, conscious being, you can choose which thoughts and emotions to engage in further in your life. That is true power. And it's like you're thinking, well, how does this connect to your heart? You're putting a bit in your heart. Again, I believe that your heart is, a lot of ways, I believe, a synonymous term for the truth of who you are. Some people say, connect to your heart. Connect to your heart. I don't think it's about being overly emotional and attached to even feelings of gratitude. Yes, gratitude is powerful. Gratitude is amazing. Feeling grateful for something is much better than feeling negative about something. For sure that is the case. But just to conclude this video, is it possible that there's a deeper essence you can become conscious of that's even more powerful than gratitude? Because remember, you can be so grateful for something, but when you're so grateful for something and you're so happy about something, haven't you noticed that there's always a fear of losing it? Whatever you're happy about, whatever you're grateful for, it's almost like there's pain still attached there. There's still suffering. And so how do you overcome this? You connect to your heart. And your heart is the truth. It's the actual truth. Your heart is the truth no matter if you feel good about it or bad about it. It's just a neutral, calm, you could say not necessarily calm, but it's just sort of a grounded, let's just say it's called a good mentor that I respect, really worded it in a powerful way, which is the groundless ground. You can ground in the groundless ground. If you can ground in the groundless ground, you're going to have more ability to take action upon what you want in your life, what you prefer in your life, what you actually desire in your life. You're going to feel less guilty about it, because guilt and shame is yet just another emotion that you can simply choose to not engage in because it doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't help you, doesn't make you improve in any of the results in your life, definitely doesn't improve your experience. On every single level, these emotions need to be let go of. And the only way to do this is not by forcing our way to let go of these things, but by connecting to our heart, by connecting to our essence, by connecting to our truth. So take an opportunity every single day, if not every single moment, as a spiritual practice, if you desire to do so, to connect to your heart, to live your life from your heart, from who you actually are, from the essence of who you are. And just notice how much easier it is to align with your intentions, how much more pure you are, how much more authentic you are, and how much more of a power you have within yourself to actually follow through with your preference and who it is that you want to actually